For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Hour number 3 of VSiN Primetime. What a game we've got brewing right now in Indianapolis. The Pacers, a 2-point lead, 54-52. And some free throws coming as Karl-Anthony Towns heads to the line. He's going to hit one here. And it is just a 2-point spread, Matt Youmans, 54-53 right now. Total has started to come down a little bit. Peak was 244.5. Right now, 238.5.
Well, look at the Pacers. Pacers have really had some problems here on the offensive end. The second quarter put up 43 points in the first, 11 points so far in the first 7 minutes of the second quarter. Tyrese Halliburton went to the bench. And the Pacers offense, somebody slammed on the brakes. We are tied at 54 now with 4:43 to go. Pacers do score here to go up 56-54. But, hey, Tim, it feels like the Knicks brought it tonight too. And this is a type of game that's probably going to go to the wire in the fourth quarter. We've had, I'd say, basically all 3 games of the series essentially went to the wire. And it looks like it's going to be 4 for 4 the way things the way things are headed tonight.
You know, it's funny. I think these two teams, and, you know, going on a limb here by saying this, but it was what, minus 140 Knicks, plus 120 Pacers, somewhere in that ballpark pre-series.
150, 160 Knicks were favored.
But you look at these two teams, you give a slight edge to the Knicks because of home court. These two teams are as evenly matched as you could hope for, and you could make an argument really that the Knicks should be up 2-1. You could argue Knicks should be up 3-0. I wouldn't make that one. Pacers should be up 3-0, Matt. It's been a hell of a series so far, and it feels like that's going to continue here in this one. Matt, sometimes those first period unders will take some time off your life, and boy, there were a lot of opportunities late in that first period for the Stars and Oilers to both get on the board. Connor McDavid had a good look. Mikko Rantanen as time expired as the Stars won on a power play, but we're back home, baby, and thank God I don't have to watch with sweat and anticipation anymore. The first period under at plus 115 does come home. I would say a little luckily, but we'll take it. You know, sometimes better to be lucky than good. Oilers lead 1-0 after one period. Total minus 145 to the under 5.5. And Oilers with that 1-0 lead, minus 270 on the money line. But the Stars will start the second period on the power play with about 1 minute and 50 seconds or so there on the power play. So should be fun to see how that all ultimately plays out.
Well, Tim, that bet might have taken some time off your life?
A little bit.
At least you won the bet.
That's true.
So that's the positive. You have to look at it that way. Yeah, your life might be a little bit shorter, but at least you're a winner. The worst thing is your life's shorter and you lose.
Yeah,
so,
college basketball, those losers will take many years off your life. Ooh, buddy. Yeah, so this is as
Pacers go up 60-56, and guess what? The Knicks counter with the basket. So 60-58, live number, Pacers 3.5, total 238.5. Money line, Pacers minus 165. And live total of 237.5. I think the peak, Tim, was what, 243.5, somewhere around there?
I saw 44.5.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the highest that I saw. So it's starting to dip down a little bit here. As Matt, I don't know. I think this game might take years off your life the way that we're watching and the back and forth we go here.
I'm okay. I mean, like you said, even if the Knicks won tonight, that's still a positive thing for
Knicks
us.
win tonight. Our pre-series bet comes home, which is nice.
I did not bet it as a hedge. I really believe the Pacers are going to win this game tonight. But we're tied at 60 with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Pacers shot making, which was so good in the first quarter, has definitely regressed here in the second. Typically, that's what you expect to happen, and that's what happened as Tyrese Halliburton misses a three. Pacers were 6 for 8 from three in the first quarter. About 1 for 6 in the second quarter, Tim.
Yeah, and right now, the New York Knicks have tied things up, and I believe an and one opportunity is coming for OG Anunoby here as the Knicks and Pacers. Your live number minus $1.25 now on the Pacers. That is the lowest I've seen all game as the Knicks do convert this free throw, Matt, and now it is a 1-point Knicks lead. So a run here in the second quarter. Man, this game... It is very comparable in ways to what we saw last night. Last night, no team really had a big lead. Here tonight, we did see the Pacers get out to, 10? Because that shot making was just so good in the first quarter. But the Knicks, you just never felt like we're going to go away here. Right now, point spread, after the Pacers are going to come down and hit a 3, they're back to a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, Pacers, I think the biggest lead was 8. It might have been 10 at one point, but anyway, it's tied at 63 again. It's just like that. Whew. Pacers are not getting stops. We talked about their weakness. Not a very good defensive team. I thought they defended really well in the first game of the series in New York, but tonight the Pacers not getting stops. Knicks obviously not either. We have 126 points with 145 to go.
Man,
that was Nembhard with the 3, and then the Knicks answered, so a tie game. Pacers 1.5-point favorites, 242.5 the total. Pacers minus 125. Tomorrow night, game 5 in OKC. Thunder laying 8.5, total 220.5. OKC 340 on the money line on Wednesday night. Any thoughts from you on that game as you look at it? What do you think of, like Chris Massaro said in the first hour when he came in with us, you would think the Thunder are going to be focused here to move on to the finals. Finished this in 5, 8.5-point favorite on their home floor. They've had their struggles on the road. They've been pretty good at home.
I think I might.
8.5 is a big number to lay.
Yeah,
though.
we just talked to Jeff Sherman too, and obviously you could hope to get a cheaper number in game, Matt. I think I might make a small position on the Thunder pre-flop, either 8.5 or maybe the first half. I do wonder how the T-Wolves respond. And look, Anthony Edwards post-game, I thought, he seemed pretty calm about it. Look, he was, for the most part, kind of taken out of that game from an offensive standpoint. I thought the defense was very good on him. He didn't really try to push much. But they turned the ball over a bunch, and that's what he pointed out, though. But when you think back to that game and how it ultimately played out, where the Thunder were able to get that win yesterday, I do wonder if that was your best effort from the T-Wolves. I mean, it was a hell of an effort. You look at inside the box score, Matt, they shot 51% from the field, which was better than what the Thunder did, albeit very close. They shot 44% from 3, slightly better than what the Thunder shot. They out-rebounded the Thunder by 5, right, and they lost. Like, what's the mindset for the for the T-Wolves heading into that game
Can't play
tomorrow
much
night?
Better than that.
No.
And still lose the game. But again, if you watch the game, you felt like OKC controlled it, right?
I did, yes.
I felt like OKC was controlling play for a majority of the 4 quarters and deserved to win that game last night. But you can't fault the T-Wolves' performance in the 2 games in Minneapolis. They played great in Game 3. And actually played at a really high level in Game 4, but came up 2 points short. Pacers 3 points up right now, 67-64, 38 seconds to go before the half.
Yeah, this has been a hell of a first half. Your first half total, by the way, was 113. You mentioned on Saturday night your bet on the T-Wolves. I had the first half on the T-Wolves. It doesn't get much easier than either the first half, first quarter, full game on Minnesota from Saturday night. If you bet first half over, it doesn't get much easier than that. This has been a game flew over the first half total of 113. As right now we're sitting here and we've got already 130 points, Matt, in the final minute of this first half.
How about 133?
Yeah.
69-64 is going to be the halftime score. Pacers up 5, and strong finish to the half for the Pacers. So the live line now, Pacers 4.5 at minus 230. On the money line, the total, Tim, 239.5. And that's up how many points from pregame?
220.
It was 219.5, right?
Yeah, most books were 219.5. DraftKings and Circa closed 219, so up 20.5 points. What a first half, man. Tyrese Halliburton wasn't lying, Matt. He said we're going to get out and go. 69 first half points. How many did they score in the second half of Game 3?
42.
Woo!
Had 43 in the first quarter tonight, 26 in the second quarter, so obviously 17-point drop-off from the first to the second. But the Pacers did pick it up a little bit there at the end of the half and lead by 5. So Jalen Brunson, 16 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 14. OG Anunoby, 13. Those are the leaders for the Knicks. And at the half for the Pacers, how about Tyrese Halliburton, 20 points, 4 for 7 from 3. Pascal Siakam, 13. Aaron Nesmith, 12. Three-point shooting. Pacers, 8 for 16. Now they were 6 for 8 in the first quarter, so 2 for 8 in the second quarter. But the Knicks, 7 for 17, and the Knicks are not going away. This game is going to go to the wire.
How about the stat line for Tyrese Halliburton? We've got it underneath the scroll there. You mentioned it, but it's worth repeating. Tyrese Halliburton, 20 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds.
And 0 turnovers.
In the first half.
It's almost got a triple-double at halftime with no turnovers in 18 minutes. But when he went to the bench for those 6 minutes in the second quarter, that's when the Pacers' offense really slowed down.
He's plus 12 in the first half, and the Pacers are up by 5. So when he's off the floor, and he was only off the floor for 6 minutes, he's -7. The team is -7 there. So, worth noting there. All right, quick update from the ice. Zach Hyman, he will not return tonight for the Edmonton Oilers as he was hit there in the early portion of the first period. So he is sidelined for the remainder of the game for the Edmonton Oilers, who do lead 1-0 after the first period. Hey, folks, if you want to know about the betting splits, the action up to date from both DraftKings and Circa, well, guess what? You can get access to that for as little as $9.99 in your first month. Head on over to VSiN.com/subscribe to check out all of the offers we have to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. One of the many perks that you get, those VSiN betting splits from both DraftKings and Circa. Halftime in Indianapolis, 69-64. Pacers, a 5-point lead in what has been a shootout in the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 4.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Quite the first half in Indianapolis as the Pacers go into the locker rooms. Matt, after 24 minutes, they lead 69-64. And right now, second half line starting to pop up across the market. Here at Circa, it's a pick'em in the second half with a 5-point lead for the Indiana Pacers. And the expectation is for things to maybe slow down a little bit from a total standpoint.
Well, it did slow down actually in the second quarter. So there were 78 points on the board at the end of the first and 55 points scored in the second quarter. So, Tim, pretty big drop-off there. And actually, Pacers dropped off from 43 points in the first quarter to 26 in the second. You knew there was going to be some shooting regression. Pacers were way too hot. Tell you what, the Knicks were pretty damn hot, too. Yep. 5 for 10 from 3 in the first quarter. Pacers were 6 for 8. Both teams cooled off a little bit in the second quarter. But again, if you bet the total over 219.5 tonight, you love where this sits right now at halftime. The live total, 241.5.
133 first half points. And looking across the market, you mentioned it at DraftKings, it's 108.5 for the second half. Circa's 108. There's a 107.5. So somewhere in that ballpark for the second half. But quite the first half, Matt. What a exhibition of shooting from both of these teams. The Knicks, 7 of 17 from long range. Jalen Brunson and OG Anunoby struggled. They went 2 of 10, but everyone else, Karl Anthony Towns hit his 3 attempt. Mikal Bridges hit his. Off the bench, Josh Hart hit a 3. Miles McBride hit a 3. DeLon Wright hit a 3 as well. And then for the Pacers, I can't get over the stat line for Tyrese Halliburton. 20 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds, goose egg on turnovers. I guess he needed his dad back in attendance. And once his dad was there, he was going to play exceptionally well.
Well, he said it in the comments we played on last night's show and tonight's show, where he was disappointed in himself for walking the ball up the court and the way he played in the second half of Game 3. He came out focused and certainly motivated tonight to make things right. And Tyrese Halliburton's been nearly perfect in the first half, almost a triple-double with no turnovers, 18 minutes on the floor. I mentioned a couple finals from MLB. Dodgers take down the Guardians 9-5 in Cleveland, and Dodgers get a home run from Shohei Ohtani tonight. Giants fall. Tigers were home underdogs in this game, believe it or not, tonight. Jack Flaherty and the Tigers beat the Giants 3-1. Logan Webb was the loser for San Francisco. So 2 finals in the books, and we got a really good game on the West Coast tonight. Yankees and Angels.
Quick update from the Western Conference Finals on the ice. The Dallas Stars start the second half on the power play against the Edmonton Oilers. It is a 1-0 lead for the Edmonton Oilers. They lead that series 1-0. Your live line, -280. in favor of the Oilers. If you think the Stars can come back, +210 right now, and your total 5.5 juiced under. This game closed, depending on where you looked, either 6.5 juiced under or 6 juiced over, and a 1-0 score early in the second period between the Oilers and the Stars. That is game 4, I beg your pardon, of that series. Tomorrow night, game 5, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. And Matt, who was it again who's giving out the play of the year on the Carolina Hurricanes?
Game of the year, Pimlico Frank Carulli. He's a professional bettor, big horse player, but he bets hockey too. Pimlico Frank hangs out the Westgate Superbook. And he said last night his game of the year. But that's a strong statement.
That is a strong statement.
I don't know how you can say the Carolina Hurricanes, who had lost 15 straight conference finals games, are going to be your game of the year. But, hey, Pimlico Frank had a lot of confidence. So Carolina +110 on Wednesday night is his hockey game of the year.
All right, there you go. Pimlico Frank. Some people call him Pimlico Joe.
He's been on this show. We've had him on. Pimlico Joe sounds good, too. But Pimlico Frank is affiliated, by the way, with ExpressBet and FirstBet, which are sponsors here at VSiN.
Is he from Baltimore? Is he from the Pimlico area?
He used to be a track handicapper at Pimlico.
There you go. By the way, just a couple of notes coming across the they used to say the wire. I don't think that's it anymore. But Alex Condon, Matt, he's coming back. He is opted out of the draft, and he will head back to your defending champion Florida Gators. That they needed help. They already got Boogie Fland, the transfer from Arkansas, who come out of the NBA draft process, transfer there. And the big fella, Alex Condon, is coming back to Florida for his junior season. So the rich get richer, apparently, as that was some big college basketball news. A lot of
big news today. I thought Houston, Michigan, and Florida were the biggest winners with the announcements of who's not going to stay in the NBA draft. And you look at the preseason top 10 in college basketball, Houston, Florida, and Michigan are going to be part of that top 10. They all got good news today on players who withdrew from the NBA draft.
Yeah, they did. And just pulling up the odds market right now, at DraftKings, Florida to repeat as champs is 16-1. Michigan, as you mentioned, they got the big fella from UAB. He went into the draft process. He was thought to be, I believe 247 had him as the top transfer in all of college basketball. He goes to Michigan after coming out of the portal, out of the draft process, 15-1. And then Houston, co-favorites right now with Purdue at 10-1 to win the national championship. Purdue, your Boilermakers there, they have been a pretty decent movement there in the futures market there, as they are 10-1 to win the title. Some good teams brewing right now in college basketball.
We're loaded. I got to tell you, at the top, Houston, Purdue, it's tight. Who you want to say is preseason number one? You can make a case for either. Right there close to them is going to be St. John's.
Yeah.
Right? I thought Rick Pitino loaded up. St. John's, not Duke, Florida, usual suspects going to be there as well, with Houston and Purdue at the top of the preseason. I think Michigan's team looks really strong on paper right now too. I have trouble pronouncing his name. I want to say Yaxel Luxembourg.
Yep, from UAB.
Is that right?
Sure. We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
I read an NBA scout comments about a month ago, and he said, watch out, this kid's going to explode. He could be a top 15 pick. But
Lindenborg,
that's it. Not Luxembourg? Okay.
Great country.
Lindenberg. Hindenburg? Anyway, he's a hell of a player. You're going to know how to pronounce his name not too long into this college basketball season, because Michigan team's going to be good. They got talent on the front line, but Michigan might be the second best team in the Big Ten behind Purdue. Anyway, the top 10 in college hoops, really, Tim, bunch of loaded teams with a ton of talent. And when you're looking at futures, I was trying to find some maybe longer shots, 20-1 or north of 20-1 in college. It's hard to find those right now because I think the books have done a great job of keeping the odds low on the teams that anticipated were going to be top 10, top 15 type of teams. You really can't find many stray numbers out there, 25, 30-1 on teams that you feel like could win the national championship. I grabbed 30-1 on UCLA a couple of weeks ago, but UCLA is definitely not quite in that top tier with some of the teams we just talked about. Have you bet any college hoops futures?
Not yet. I was hoping to bet Purdue, and that price is just way too short. But
you don't want to bet right now. You really don't want to bet anything at 10 to 15-1. You're trying to find things, 18, 20, a little bit north, ideally north of 20-1. But I was trying to stay ahead of the transfer market too and all that. But I thought that most books did a great job of staying ahead of the curve and keeping the numbers low on some of the teams that we thought, okay, keep an eye on St. John's. St. John's was at 20-1 for a while. Boom, that disappeared quickly.
Yep.
It's just the College Basketball Futures Board, I don't think is going to have as many opportunities this year as maybe we've seen in the past in terms of long shots. And I guess there weren't many long shots last year because we had 4 number 1 seeds get to the Final Four.
Yeah, and that number 1 seed, Alex Condon, coming back to Florida, and Boogie Fland headed down to Florida as well. I was just looking at 247.
Florida's odds peaked maybe at 40-1 at one point.
Is that what their peak was? Oh, last season.
Last season.
Yep. Yeah, there were some really good odds to have on them. They got off to a really hot start, had a couple of early losses in the SEC, and got hot at the right time. 247 Sports has the top 2 transfers. Yaxel Lindenborg from UAB, who went to Michigan, whom we were talking about, pulled out of the NBA draft process, will be in Ann Arbor this fall. And then PJ Haggerty, the All-American guard from Memphis, he is pulled out of the NBA draft process, which isn't a surprise, and he's going to Kansas State. So a big pickup there for the Purple Cats to get PJ Haggerty out of the transfer portal.
Kansas State obviously spending some money. There's no doubt about it. That's been true the last couple of years. So a lot of big news in college basketball with some big-name players, some really impactful players who are not going to enter to draft. And, Tim, it makes sense because if you're not sure you're going to be a first-round pick, you can make so much money playing college basketball now that you don't have to force the issue and stay in the draft. And that's going to make college basketball stronger because you're going to retain several of the stars who might have taken a shot and entered the draft in the past. It's not going to happen now. A lot of these guys can make more money playing college hoops.
Yeah, the reports were that PJ Haggerty from Memphis made $2.5 million from Kansas State, and Memphis actually offered more for him to stay, but he opted to go to Kansas State. Hey, folks, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all the betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet, with the promo code PRIME, PRIME. Deposit $25. Edge Boost will match the deposit. edgeboost.bet. We're about to start the third quarter, Matt. 69-64 Pacers, a 5-point lead over the New York Knicks. And on the ice, Edmonton holding on to a 1-0 lead early in the second period.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Indiana Pacers coming out red hot in the start of the third quarter. Matt, we've got a timeout on the floor, and the Pacers have started the second half on a 7-0 run, 76-64, and they are now 8.5-point favorites, minus 425 on the money line.
Pacers doing exactly what Tyrese Halliburton said they needed to do tonight. Press the pace, play faster, spread the floor with three-point shooters, make the Knicks defend every inch of the floor on the offensive end. Pacers right now up 12. The live line is 8.5.
Time to look at the Knicks?
Well, I think it might be because I still think this game's going to go to the wire. It's going to be tight. Look, this is one of many runs you're going to see in the second half. And in basketball in general, but especially in the NBA, it's a game of runs. Pacers, 7-0 run here to start the third quarter. At some point, the Knicks are going to go on a run to get right back in it. So if you took the 8.5 with the Knicks right now, I don't think you can feel bad about that bet. I think things will tighten up. Now, over 4 quarters, Tim, what I'd be concerned with, the Knicks' depth. And if the Pacers keep pushing this fast pace, are the Knicks going to get worn out in the fourth quarter? Total is 237.5. Pacers, man, this money line price looks high. And the Pacers minus 425.
Yeah, that is.
But that's how things spike when you have a run. And live betting, I mean, 7-0 run over 2 minutes in an NBA game is not much, but that's how dramatically the numbers can change in 2 minutes.
I took a little 8.5.
I don't blame you. I actually think 8.5 is a decent play right now. Especially if you played the Pacers pregame on the money line and you got the Knicks plus 8.5, you got a really nice middle situation there.
Yep, and that was your position pregame, and right now the Pacers with a double-digit lead, I believe their largest lead of the game. They hit double digits the start of the second quarter. Knicks bounce back. We've said it a bunch. Both these teams, they don't quit, and Tom Thibodeau talked about it post-game following Game 3. With the three-pointer, you're never out of it, and we'll see if the Knicks, who were hot, and then they've cooled off a little bit. The Pacers were red hot. They cooled off a little bit. We'll see how this one plays out, Matt. But a 7-0 run to start the second half. Live number right now, Knicks plus 8.5. Depending on where you look, Circa's minus 110, DraftKings minus 120, so the juice varying, but 8.5 is that live number.
Hey, we've seen 20-point leads disappear in Knicks playoff games. Pacers up 12. Don't overreact. I think this thing's going to tighten up. By the way, we have a tie game. Not
anymore.
The Oilers score on the power play, and Edmonton up 2-1 over Dallas midway through the second period.
So just like that, I was about to give the updated line there, Matt, of where we stood, and just like that, the Oilers make it a 2-1 game. I believe that would be a second period over. I saw our guy Jonathan Davis at West Coast Hockey gave out on Twitter over a half goal for Edmonton in the second period, and JD can go ahead and cash that one as they are able to beat Jake Ottinger to make it a 2-1 game. So 2 goals here in the second period, and this one is starting to see a little bit more goals come on home. Here in the second period, Jason Robertson scored his second goal of the postseason, Matt. It came on the power play, and Corey Perry just a moment ago. So we have seen, Matt, in this game, 3 power play goals. And how about this? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, he has assisted on both goals tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. He's now up to 13 assists, and Connor McDavid assisted on that Corey Perry goal. 18 assists this postseason for Connor McJesus as they lead 2-1 now, the Oilers do, midway through this second period.
18 assists, but I don't think Connor McDavid's goal count is that high.
No, not as high as that, no.
The assist numbers have been off the charts for McDavid. All right, back to the NBA. 3 minutes into the third quarter, Pacers up 10, 78-68. Live number 7.5, total 240.5. Pacers minus 450 to win the game on the money line. So, Knicks within 10. Let's see what they can do here, Tim, if they can tighten things up. I would expect they will tighten things up here later in the third quarter.
We got another power play, by the way, in Edmonton. So 3 power play goals so far tonight, and another opportunity for the Dallas Stars on the power play. It is a 10-point game in Indiana. 6.5 is the number, minus 360 for the Indiana Pacers. Matt, our friend David Bearman, going to join us coming up in 10 minutes. He's got some thoughts on the Florida Panthers tomorrow night. Do they close it out? Is he going to go against Pimlico Frank?
That's it.
Yes. All right.
Game of the year.
I've got Pimlico Joe in the head.
Pimlico Frank.
Pimlico Frank is loaded up there on.
I'll tell you what, the Pacers having trouble defending Karl Anthony Towns.
Well,
look at that drive and dunk by Cat there. They've had some difficulty. Like you said, he had 20 points in the fourth quarter Sunday night, so it's pretty obvious they've had troubles with him. But that's one guy I think the Knicks really need to go to because the Pacers haven't shown that they can keep him under control. Knicks are going to go to the free throw line here and cut this back to single digits.
Matt, what's interesting about Jalen Brunson, he got off to such a great start, and you mentioned the stat from Julian Edlow over at DraftKings, the most prop bet tonight was over 29.5 points for Jalen Brunson.
What, do you have 12 in the first quarter?
Yeah, he did.
And he's stuck at 16
He's stuck at 16 right now. Karl Anthony Towns has 16, OG Anunoby with 13. 2-point game right now as Mitchell Robinson is going to hit, I believe, both of these free throws, Matt. So the hack of Mitchell did not work out there. Actually, got an offensive rebound. I wouldn't say it was a hack of situation. I think he was just trying to foul, so he didn't get an easy putback opportunity there as Miles Turner heads to the bench. He's sitting there with 3 fouls. Yet to get to the triple-double for Tyrese Halliburton. He needs 2 more rebounds. It looks like they took one of his rebounds away, but 8 boards for Tyrese Halliburton. And I don't know what the price was, but I imagine it was pretty juicy on a Tyrese Halliburton triple-double tonight. And feeling decent right now with a double-double already in the bag with 20 points and 11 assists, 8 rebounds for Tyrese Halliburton as he has been playing exceptionally well here tonight for the Indiana Pacers as they move the lead back out to 10, 80-70 right now with 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
10-point lead, 6.5 is the live line, 239.5 to total. All right, so let's talk baseball here for a couple minutes because we got a game about to start in Anaheim, I think about 2 minutes away. Yankees and Angels, Carlos Rodon against Tyler Anderson, battle of lefties tonight. Adam Burke joined the show with us in the first hour tonight. He said the Yankees run line is going to be his play on this. At Circa, the line has actually ballooned a little bit to Yankees minus 220, run line minus 125 if you want to lay a run and a half. Angels have not been hitting lefties, and Carlos Rodon, a lefty for the Yankees, has been really, really good. I'm going to go back and give you his last 5 starts, 29 and 2/3 innings, 7 earned runs. 4 of those runs came in 1 start against the A's. So in 4 of his 5 starts, he's been really good. And in those 29 and 2/3 innings, he's got 18, 23, 35 strikeouts in those 29 innings. And Rodon, who got off to a shaky start for the Yankees in the first few weeks, has been great recently. And this offense has really picked it up here in the last couple of days. Yankees lost that opener at Coors Field to the Rockies, but since then the offense has been humming. And I think Yankees laying a run and a half tonight is probably a decent bet. That game's about a minute away from start in Anaheim. Again, Yankees going off minus 220, but if you lay 1.5, it's minus 125.
Karl Anthony Towns puts his head in his hands as he had a possession there where he missed one at the rim and then misses a pretty ugly 3-point attempt there as the Knicks unable to corral a rebound, and Tyrese Halliburton almost makes him pay. So things have cooled down a bit, at least from the long-range shooting, as Halliburton missed a open look there. Still a 10-point lead for the Indiana Pacers. The Dallas Stars unable to convert, Matt, on a power play. So with under 7 minutes to go in the second period, the Edmonton Oilers still have that 1-goal lead in that second period. We've seen goals from both squads as Corey Perry scored on the power play there for the Edmonton Oilers to regain the lead. Jason Robertson earlier in the second period. First goal of the game north of the border tonight, Leon Draisaitl on the power play. So 2-1, the Oilers lead over the Dallas Stars. Hey, folks, just a reminder, May 31st is the last day you can get in on the great offer we've got going on over at VSiN.com. You got to use the promo code PRO at VSiN.com/subscribe, and that is $199 for 14 months of VSiN Pro access. So you get everything we have to offer for 14 months. That's less than 50 cents a day. The NFL betting guide, college football betting guide. Matt, we've got college baseball guides coming out here in a matter of days here, and you can also get access access to the VSiN Watch app that way as well. So $199, 14 months. You got to use the promo code PRO over at VSiN.com. 82-75 right now, Matt, is the score in Indiana, and the Pacers going to head to the free throw line to up their lead. 240.5 the total, as this has slowed down a little bit from a pace standpoint midway through the second quarter. 83-75, an 8-point advantage for the Indiana Pacers over the New York Knicks.
Yeah, live total 240.5. Pacers minus 250 on the money line and 5.5-point favorites. Tim, you grabbed 8.5. How do you feel about that Knicks plus 8.5?
Mixed. No real confidence one way or the other just yet.
So much time left. 5:55 to go in the third quarter. This is going to be, I think, a wild finish. I think he did the right thing, taking the 8.5.
David Bearman, he's going to join us next, give us his best bets.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Got ourselves a couple of fun ones going on right now on the ice and on the hardwood. Under 4 minutes to go in the second period. Matt, 2-1 the score. The Edmonton Oilers leading the Dallas Stars. We've seen 3 power play goals so far this evening north of the border. Game's first goal came 11:23 into the first period. Leon Draisaitl on the power play, his 7th goal of the postseason. And then Jason Robertson tied things up for Dallas, 6:57 into the second period on the power play. But Corey Perry, 3 and change later, Matt, made it 2-1 Edmonton. That's where we sit right now. Taking a look at where we are from a live betting standpoint in that one. Edmonton minus 410 on the money line, and the total sits at 5.5. What a game, Matt, it has been in the NBA so far. 85-77 the score. Pacers with an 8-point lead. That total really has not come down all that much. Still sitting at 242.5 from an in-game standpoint.
It's been a fast pace. Both teams making a lot of shots, and Pacers up 8, but we have a long way to go to get to the finish line in that one.
Let's head to our progressive guest line, a gentleman who joined us all throughout the football season. We called him the Undertaker, and hopefully he didn't have the under in Pacers and Knicks tonight. He's now got a segment over at Pro Football Network called Betting with Bearman. It is David Bearman who joins us right now. Mr. Bearman, tell folks where we can get the betting content now. You guys are expanding things over at PFN then.
We are expanding. We've gone from PFN to PFSN, adding other sports as well. We have some NBA stuff out there, as well as we had college basketball and college football. And we're expanding our betting content. Betting with Bearman, you mentioned. You can get it, the newsletter at pfnbetting.com, or you can go to my Twitter handle at DavidBearmanPFN and sign up there. We have right now we're looking at 4 days a week, a betting newsletter. We all want to get rich and we all want to pick winners. That's what we all do. That's why everybody watches you guys. But I also want to educate people, make people smarter, give them the nuggets, give them the tips, give them the tricks, sort of what you guys do on the air. And it's more than just the picks. It's behind the scenes on what goes on and how the ingredients are cooked. And that's kind of what the newsletter is. And went in there today to discuss that 0-7 start by the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road, ATS, is not something we've ever seen before for a team that may win the NBA title. So stuff like that is in the newsletter at pfnbetting.com.
All right, let's get to a game tomorrow. I know near and dear to your heart are the folks down in the Sunshine State. The Florida Panthers unable to close it out last night, so no sweep for the Panthers. So they returned to Raleigh, where they took care of business in games 1 and 2. Right now, market, we'll call it around minus 120 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Total 5.5 juiced under. What are you looking at tomorrow night on the ice in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals?
I know a lot of people were surprised that Florida couldn't close it out as good as they've looked, especially in the first 3 games versus Carolina, and then the closer in Game 7 versus Toronto, where they were scoring 5 and 6 goals a game, and they didn't score yesterday. And granted, they had some injuries. Obviously, Sam Reinhart didn't play. Nico Mikkola got injured in Game 3, and AJ Greer also got injured in Game 3. And you wonder if that took a toll over time, missing a couple of guys from your lineups, having to move the lines up a little bit from their shifts. But at the end of the day, this is still a team that has dominated the series. They didn't trail at any point in the series until Game 4 yesterday when Carolina got that first goal. I still think Florida finishes this out. Listen, it's not easy. And Paul, the head coach Murray said it last year against Edmonton. Beating a team 4 straight games in anything is hard to do. Obviously, they had a 3-0 series lead against Edmonton and ended up at Game 7. I don't see that happening here. You know, every once in a while, a team's going to put up a dud. They did it versus Toronto in Game 6, where they could have closed Toronto out and put up a dud at home and then went to Game 7 and blew them out of Toronto. Do I think they're going to blow Carolina out in Game 5? Not necessarily. Carolina actually looked really good yesterday, more aggressive. But at the end of the day, the Panthers are the better team. I expect them to win. And listen, no game has been decided by less than 3 goals in either Eastern or Western Conference Finals. Obviously, tonight is yet to be decided over in Edmonton. So I would still lean towards Florida, and, you know, the puck line maybe, you know, they never know with the empty net goals. Even yesterday, Tim, it was 1-0 until there was a few minutes left with 2 empty net goals. I would lean Florida. I think they get it right tomorrow, and then they get a couple of days off before they get to the Stanley Cup final.
Carolina, a home dog in that game. If you like the Florida Panthers, like David Bearman says, minus 122 right now at Circa. I would say if you want to bet hockey, just follow Tim Murray because he's been hot as hell on the ice the past 2 nights. Tim, go ahead and brag. Jump on the T train. Woo. Tim Murray, 2-0 the last 2 nights in hockey, playing first period unders.
Back-to-back first period unders. It's as easy as that.
Hey, Bearman, how about David?
We're on the Dallas Stars team total under tonight. So they got that first goal, but we're under 2.5. So that's enough scoring for Dallas.
2-1 with 1:50 to go in the second period there. Bearman, are you doing much with the NBA playoffs? Right now we're watching Pacers lead the Knicks by 5 late in the third quarter.
Yeah, most of the NBA picks so far in the Betting with Bearman column have been around the prop market. It's so hard to figure out this Eastern Conference Finals. You know, either team could be up 3-0 or down 3-0 in this series. We went the prop market tonight with Josh Hart under an assist, which is live right now, and hitting it was 4.5. Last time I looked, he only had 1. So we're looking at the prop market, and the one thing I would warn you against, and the other side of things, I mentioned a minute ago, the Thunder have yet to cover a road game this entire postseason. So, they don't have to, by the way. They could not cover or not win any road games the rest of the way and still win the NBA title. That's what home court advantage gets you. It would be easier if they did, but I'm not laying any points with the Thunder on the road until they prove they can do it. They're winning every game by 2 and by 3 and by 4, and then, of course, you lose by 43. I think the Thunder get it done, and I still think they'll win the West. And in my estimation, depending on how tonight ends up, I do like the Pacers. I got them at 9-1 before the Final Four started playing in terms of the semifinals. We've been leaning into the prop market a lot, looking at the usage and shot percentage stuff, and we've been doing fairly well with it. It's really hard to handicap this, especially the Eastern Conference Finals, unless you're Tim Murray.
Tim Murray's got a special talent for handicapping hockey, and he's showing that off here the last couple nights. Jalen Brunson, most bet player prop tonight was Brunson over 29.5 points. He has made a living at the free throw line here lately, and he is up to 25 points. So a lot of bettors need Brunson to get over that number tonight. David Bearman, we talked golf a lot with you in the past. I know you play golf. How about the Memorial Tournament this week in Dublin, Ohio? Jack Nicklaus course. Scotty Scheffler, a short favorite. What's going to be on your golf betting card?
And I've said this repeatedly, Scotty's probably going to go and win. And if you're the guy who wants to throw one bullet out there and make one bet and you take Scotty at plus 280 or 300, I'm not going to fault you for doing so. I mean, he's the number 1 player in the world. He leads in every metric you need for this course. He's the defending champion. And all he's done is finish in the top 5 in almost every single event he has. So would not surprise me. That's not the way I'm going to go because there's no value in plus 280. What I do with Scotty is I always bet him top 5, and you get him top 5 at minus 180 right now. And I'm going to watch him live. And it almost worked for me last week. Last week I got him Friday afternoon at 18-1. And then he woke up Saturday and he was 2 shots off the lead. He obviously faltered back and didn't win. But I'd rather have Scotty Scheffler making a run at 18-1 than at plus 280. That being said, I do think he's going to win the event and probably will finish in the top 5 if he doesn't win it. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Without Rory McIlroy, there's really no other runaway favorite like Scotty. Colin Morikawa at 16-1. You can get him in the top 10 at plus 130. This is a guy who's finished as the bridesmaid twice at this event in 2021 and 24. But he also won at Jack's course during the Workday charity event, which was, remember, they played back-to-back events at Muirfield Village coming out of COVID. They played the first 2 events there, and he won the first one. He's 16 shots gained tee to green and 7th in the approach. I don't necessarily say anybody's due, but this guy has 11 top 10 since his last win. I think he's live at 16-1, much better odds than Scotty. And listen, when you're looking at plus 280 plus 1600, is there a big difference between the two? Sure. Should there be that big of a difference? No. So that's one of the favorites I'm looking at. I'm going to go a little bit deeper, Matt, with my next pick. If you don't have this guy on your short list of guys who can contend anywhere, then you're missing out and you haven't been paying attention. Sepp Straka still getting 40-1 to win this event. He won the last signature event at the Truist Classic a few weeks ago, 5th at Arnie's event, tied for 14th at the Players' Championship. He leads the entire tour in greens and regulation. This is a course with the 3rd smallest greens on tour. He's also 2nd on approach and 9 tee to green. Sepp Straka has the game to get it done here. He's proven he can win the big events. He's not someone that gets a lot of love, and he's at 40-1 right now is where I'm going to play him, and Colin Morikawa is my 2 outrights, not to mention a whole bunch of other people on the board in terms of the rest of the card.
All right, David Bearman, best of luck to us because we're going to need it. I bet Colin Morikawa too, and he's been a money pit, but hopefully he shows up this week. I agree with everything you said about how his game fits this course. And Morikawa, 18-1 here at Circa, and top 10 plus 175. So, Bearman, if you want better numbers on Morikawa, bet it here at Circa Sports.
And I might have to make a flight out there or at least text you and Venmo you some money there.
You can get the free newsletter. Just sign up, follow him on Twitter at David Bearman, PFN, a friend of the show, and check out his new content, Betting with Bearman. David, best of luck this weekend with all your bets, man.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
There he is, David Bearman. Let's get you updated before we hit a break. In Indiana, 93-84, Pacers holding on to that 9-point lead, total up to 244.5. It just never stops. The points are flooding in Indianapolis.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.